Good day, guys. I hope we are all good. I hope we had a productive week. Last week I wasn't as active. I wasn't as active on the charts. My trading age was a bit low, so I wasn't that active on the charts. So I always try to be active when I feel like my trading age is very high. So back on the charts now. Let's see what we've got. So just going to browse through. I'm going to browse through all the assets. C5 looks like it will drop right now. So maybe let's start by analyzing C5. We still need them to close below the H1, but they could simply close below with this current candle. Okay, 4 hour nice candlestick pattern right there. What else do we have? The daily is rejecting the 13 EMA. Okay, so let's start from there. Daily rejecting the 13 EMA, so we could get a short-term sell. 4 hour, we only have price action. We are still trading above the 13 EMA, which means price can most likely just get into the 13 and maybe continue pushing up. So we don't have strong bias yet. H1 is yet to close below the 13 EMA, but it looks like that's where we are heading now. So a safe sell would be below this order block here. But at the same time, it's still short term until we break below. You see, we had this zone left by this drop here, this mini drop. So I feel like it can act as a support zone right now for this sell, which can potentially happen. So we might get something like this. We take profit here. We wait to see if price wants to come below for a continuation of the sales, or they'll actually bounce off this level and still continue to push up. For now, you can see intraday almost looks like price wants to push up, although we're still within this range. So the fact that we're still within this range means that on a daily, we do not really have like a bias. But we are keen to take sales as long as the price respects the pattern. So that's my view on H1, waiting for safe sales there. Dropping to M30, we can see that price is potentially hit this level here and will most likely drop. So we're leaning on that sell, leaning on that sell. Let me see if I cannot open one position at current market price. Okay, C5. Okay, let's just drop to, I feel like price can slightly push up a bit. So here we've got broken order block, which was retested. Broken zone, which can potentially be retested. So a sell limit can go there right around 43.71 area for a sell limit. Just one position on this one, because for me, the trend is not really like a strong sell bias until we break some structures. So only one position for now will do. Yeah, only one position for now. Yeah, I'm just opening the position on my phone. I think, was this the same setup you shared in the group? I think it was the same, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, C5 M15. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, perfect. This was actually a clean setup as well from the right from the top, because even on M5 you can see we've got a pattern break and a retest right there. You shared M15. M15 as well, too clean there. So the sell can most likely happen, but for now, I feel it's short term. If it does happen, it's short term. Because remember, we're also trading on yesterday's high right here. So this level can also act as a support for price to actually continue pushing up. So daily, we do not have a clean sell bias. That's why we're actually looking like both ways to see that if this holds price, we'll most likely see price push up. So when we sell here, we should just be careful with the sell, uh, proper risk on the trade, and just target this level here around 43, 40, 43, 35. If we can get about 30 pips, maybe 20 to 30 pips, I think for now that will do. If we do break this level, that's when I'll only start be looking for more sells. But for now, just one position. So that's my view there on C5. I'm also with you. So, all right, jumping to C3. C3, you can see this cell here. I want you guys to notice that this setup is coming from a higher time frame setup, which we marked. We marked this level, we marked this level. Price came once, they came again twice, they dropped, retraced. Then from here, they came, hit this level. Then after that, they just melted. So you can see we had a significant level here, which was respected once, twice, then the breakout. Right, this is 4 hour trading below the 13. Everything here this was a clean downtrend right from the top. So looking for trades intraday, each one. If you're looking at this from the day before yesterday, you would have noticed that price simply respected some zones which we had. You can see this is where I last analyzed on this particular day. Here I didn't even check. Here I didn't even check. So you can see price still came, respected that level. This is the order block. Broke it here. You could have still sold, targeted this area. Price came back up into this order block again. Dropped, retraced, then eventually they broke. So there were actually multiple areas. Yeah, I saw on your item that you actually caught the move. That was perfect. And then we really had a nice sell-off yesterday. So remember, for the most part, we are scalping, taking small profits, scalping, taking small profits. But it's always good to catch that one good move. At least one good move per asset per week is not that bad. So be happy with taking small profits, small profits, small profits, while it's waiting to catch that big move. All right. So what are we looking for today? Price dropped considerably here, and we could still get a continuation just based on what I'm looking at on H1. So the safest sell from there would be right here. If we break this level, then the sells will most likely continue. But again, from this high to this low, if we run a fib, you'll notice that the points of interest are slightly above right here. This one is in line with the fair value gap there. Here, price is balanced. Right here, there's another fair value gap. So when marking out a setup, it's just use what comes to mind when you're looking at that particular price action. So if you see fair value gaps and you understand how to use them, then you can apply them. If you see an impulsive move and you feel like you can use a fib, just run your fib, then start looking for confluences which line with that fib retracement. So points of interest at the top there on H1, price can retrace there. But if we do break this current order block, I'm going to look for a sell there and maybe target areas around 2000 area there. That will be my target. But we can still potentially push up. Remember, after a huge sell-off like this, price sometimes can decide to retrace. But if we look at it from the daily, we'll notice that price is most likely coming towards the liquidity here, which could be the all-time lows, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, I think that should be the all-time lows. where price will be coming, visible from the daily chart. So I'm just going to mark this level and this level. Those are the targets there. So price can still continue dropping all the way to 1933 or 1866 areas, just based on the market structure we're looking at. So daily is a downtrend. Yes, we can retrace up into those areas that shaded, but again, we can still have that momentum continuing to the downside. So from the 4 hour now, you notice the fair value gap on the 4 hour would be this one right after the zone was broken. So that one is right on the 68.8 area. And there's a tiny fair value gap inside that one from the smaller time frame as well. So that's a high probability sell point. Again, we also have this particular fair value gap here. Can this hold? It might, as it is also in line with the 38.2 fib retracement level. So for now, I would say my setup is just looking like this. So wait on H1 just for price action. If we break the order block, I'm selling. If we come back up, if we get a pattern, I'm also selling. But I'll just try to exercise extreme patience. C1 yesterday after communicating in the group, I actually scalped it before I slept. I scalped this move here. Let me just zoom in. The break of this order block right here, I scalped this move here. I think I took about 20, 30 pips before I slept. I was so tired. I was like, let me sleep. Let me not even hold. Because I wasn't sure if they would actually continue down since we had the 50 EMA there. So I took my 20 pips, called it a day, but price actually broke, retested the order block, dropped. What can we get today? Today we can get price potentially selling. So that's a point of interest right there on the bottom, 55.22. If price does sell, we can use that level there as a target. There is probably liquidity lying below that level there, most likely. Again, we've got this level here. Let me just see what it's lining up with. Okay, this is where price is currently rejecting right now. That's where they rejected and they're pushing up. So can we get a sell? It's possible looking at how TDI is also looking there. We might get a baseline bounce, 50 static bounce. So let's come with this setup from the daily. Daily, potentially it's a retracement or a pullback, right? We've had this nice impulsive move. We've been bullish for more than a week. Broke a trend line, broke a zone. So what we could get, especially after this price action, is a potential retracement. Although we have to agree that this price is actually pushing up. So could we get a pullback? Very possible before this price continues pushing up, or they could just change and still come back below here and push down. But for now, we are trading a retracement of this push up. So if price is actually retracing and they are pushing up, we are saying they should most likely get around this zone. Most likely. That's between the 50 and the 61.8 on the daily. Excuse me, of which they can still bounce off the 38.2, which is in line with these two zones here. Okay, it's in line with this zone here, this high there, this high there, this high there, which was broken. So they can either come bounce off here, meeting the 50 and the 13 EMA, or they can still come back down to as low as this area here, then still push up. So with that in mind, we can confidently now say we can look for potential sells being a retracement of this move happening on a higher time frame. So when you drop down to H4, you will notice that nice, this is like a wall, right? The price like it has hit a wall. This is a nice stop hunt there. So if you're looking at it like this, then you're on the right track. These highs here, these equal highs on 56.33 area, 56.33. All right, so you can see a clean stop hunt right above there. Then price came back below. This is just price action, no clear trend here. Of course, we've broken below the 13 EMA after this strong uptrend, as you can see. So two things can happen here. We can have this H1 close back above the 13 and this price will continue going up on its merry way. Because remember, it's a very strong uptrend happening since late late May. Since around 23rd, yeah, since around the 23rd. It's been a strong push up. So they can still continue pushing up or they can still reject around this area and then pushing down. So with that bias in mind of what can potentially happen, we now jump to H1. Remember, H1 for us to sell, we just need something simple. Prices to be trading below the 13 EMA. In there, that's where we should look for sell opportunities. So same applies here. We need them to respect something to the left-hand side. So it's either they're going to respect this supply zone here or this order block, whatever you call it. Gave us a nice price action here with a nameable candle or nameable candles. Come back below the 13 EMA. Then we can look forward to sell, taking profit at this target. And as soon as we break, looking for a potential retest and a continuation down. For now, that's my view. If we happen to come up now, price can potentially be continuing with the uptrend, or they might still want to uh, target these highs, equal highs here, and still form a sell pattern. So I feel like today, a lot of things can happen. All we can do now, for now, is to actually stalk on C1. Then if we get a clean pattern, then we can execute our trade. So that's my view. And we'll just be paying attention to the TDI there. So I'm just going to leave this one as well on H1. Right. So going to C5. Again, you see that pattern which I'm anticipating on C1, H4. This pattern, like price will show that they want to come down, then they will still come close above, continue with the uptrend. Like I said on C5, that could still happen because this, remember right now, it's a support zone, this area here. Until we break, this will act as a support zone and price can actually push up. If we can come back above this high, we might get something like this. But again, we just keep stoking. We can actually get something we can use and we can still be able to sell. If we come and break below this red line, which you see, then we'll most likely get our sell coming down to the 200 EMA or to this gray support zone here, which you see. So 43.35 should be a potential target. And if we can sell it from around 43.55, we can get a clean 20 to 30 pips. So that's my view. We do have one runner there, which I'm actually thinking of closing because it's always good to enter a trade after getting more confirmations. H1 as well is still trading above the 13 EMA. So until we come below the 13 EMA, I don't think we should be taking any sales right now. Unless, of course, you just have one runner, small position, something you can manage, then that will be perfectly fine. But if you look at it, the way it's looking right now, the sales are not really high probability. So just manage your trades accordingly on that one. On my side, I'm going to exit that runner. It's on about what? Almost 10 pips, about 8 pips of loss on the runner. So that's why we have runners. Runners get your emotions involved. They make you analyze price properly because no one wants to lose, right? So it's always good to have a runner because it's a smaller risk, something you can manage. But anyways, if price does what we said it might do coming to the downside, then we are going to sell. So I'm going to leave this on H1 so that I can pay attention to the order block and the 13 EMA. Then going to B5. B5 for the last session I had, I remember I mentioned we're in a strong downtrend. I think it was actually the day before yesterday. Because on that particular day, they ended up bottoming out here. Then they did a quick intraday reversal. I'm not sure if anybody caught this one. That was just a quick trade intraday reversal against the main trend. So if you understand what price is doing this trade, you can still catch it, but you should just know that price is in a downtrend, so you shouldn't hold much. So looking at it today, almost looks like an intraday reversal could also happen, right, from current market price based on the candles we're looking at. Looking on the daily though, we're still bearish as you can see, but I'm always open to seeing price retrace, maybe come tap into this red line which we broke. That could be a possible play. Yeah, that could be a possible play. So we could get a short-term buy, a quick short-term buy. But if you notice, even TDI on H1 is trading literally outside the volatility bands, which means the selling pressure is too much. You don't want to trade against the main trends. If you see a buy, it will be very, very, very short-term. Unless, of course, some structures are broken, which might make us change our mind. Remember, we trade what the price is showing us, not what we think will happen or what we want to happen. We only trade what the price is showing us. So on the 4 hour, this is a level where price can come just tap liquidity there before continuing with the push down. So that price point is around That price point is around 59.63, 59.63. Okay, we can get a potential push up before price decides to push down. That's possible. But one thing I also want to let you guys know, maybe you can put this on your notes. If you're struggling with trend, let your 4 hour be the best time frame to show you the trend, right? So equal lows, equal lows. This is 2 weeks of no trend. There's no direction here. So if you're taking buys, your buys are short term. If there's no direction, most of the times it means no trade. After this level was broken, price started to have a downward motion. So now we've got a lower low. We push up, we get a lower high. We push down, we get a lower low. We push up, we get a lower high. Push down, lower low. Already, once you start seeing this, you know it's a downtrend. So for us who only buy the booms, remember we'll just be targeting um intraday reversals. So if price gets to a certain point where I feel like it could be a lower low, then I can just look for a buy pattern, a very short-term buy pattern, because I'll know my price is currently in a downtrend on the higher time frame. So price continued here, another lower low. This lower high, this one, is different from these other ones because here price just tapped and shot down. So now this is what we call acceleration. Usually when price starts to show acceleration, they are trapping the late sellers. Late sellers get trapped into selling, then the price will do a quick reversal, maybe come back above this area to take out anyone who sold but put their stop loss here. So you should sort of just try to understand how price moves. And at the same time, we also have the 800 EMA, which is a dynamic support zone from a higher time frame as well. So that also shows that chances are price can still actually push back up into this level. Very possible. But at the same time, remember we're in a downtrend. So we don't want to impose on price what we want it to do. We just have to patiently wait for them to show us something. So if we get any buy pattern within this zone, then we can execute a buy, a short-term buy. Until price shows us that it's a long-term, we'll just treat it as a short-term buy. So I'm going to mark the highs of these last two H4 candles, which is the current one, which is about to close in 20 minutes, and the last one. That high there should be able to sort of help us if we are to get a buy setup. So right now, if we break that high, I'll be buying. If we break that high, I'll be buying. You will notice that at that time, if that happens, price will actually be above the 13 EMA. We might get a slight retracement, but we can also get a nice little short-term buy, either coming back to the 50 EMA or maybe back to this zone here. Very, very possible. Here, it also looks like it could be a baseline bounce. So I'm already open to seeing a buy actually happen. So for B5, that's my view. I'm going to leave this on H1 as well so that I can just pay attention to that close above the 13 EMA or the close above this these highs or the current high of today. Once we break that, it has to act as support. Current high of the day, if price does this, then we are looking for this. We either TP here or we TP here. If that happens. So for now, I'll say that's my view on B500. Then B1000, it's been steady pushing up, but let's see what has been happening the past few days. Okay, we are right on the 13 EMA, which is a dynamic support zone. If you notice, we've got a baseline bounce after these highs we extended. So this also shows us that this price can actually still push down, especially if we manage to eventually break this order block. It will be a pattern happening on a daily time frame. That means the sell which is coming here could actually be a big sell. So we should stay away from buying B1. But for now, with what price is currently showing us, we are currently on a dynamic support zone. So can we get a buy set up here? Possible W forming, extended leg on the H4. If we zoom in, we look to the left, what is price bouncing off? This at some point was a level. So I'm going to use a gray line so that it can be visible. I just want to see if price is tapped into that zone. So almost looks like it. And at the same time, we do have this high here. So now price is tapped into this high. Liquidity has been taken on the 4 hour. A short-term buy is very possible. Short-term buy very possible. On H1, nice price, action price retrace. We are currently trading above the 13 EMA. The only thing which is stopping us right now from buying, I would say, these two moving averages which you see, they will act as a dynamic resistance point. So first, we have to agree we've been in a downtrend, so it's very easy for price to continue pushing down from any point without respecting anything. It's very possible. That's number one. But at the same time, price is showing us something familiar, which is a pattern right here. So can we get back up here? That's possible. Maybe it would have been better if we had caught this buy right there at the retest of that order block there. I'm sure that's an M15 order block. Let's see. Okay, you can see M15 OB. So that would have been a perfect area to have a buy limit, maybe one position. Then the spike would have came. It's actually a 100 pip move. You see, it would have actually been a good move. So for now, how low can this price go? We do have yesterday's low right here. So we can still come back, tap. On this setup, I'll prefer to run with the fib, right? So if I run with this fib, so remember from this first push up, if you put your fib, price came to the 70.5 optimal trade entry, which was on the order block. So we had confluence there. Price was trading above the yellow baseline already. So chances of buying were higher compared to sells, right? So after that move, another impulsive move, we are still trading above the yellow baseline and trading above the 50 static. We are also above yesterday's lows, which can act as a buy limit zone. It's right below 38.2 and right above 50. So if price gets to yesterday's low price, I think I'll get in with one buy position right there. 16,245 buy limit B1000. So it's just one position. Why one position? Because we still want to figure out where the price wants to go. So 15, sorry, 16,245 buy limits. Worst case scenario would be the price tapping 38.2 and actually pushing up, because these moves up have been fast, as you can see, from the zone quick shift. From the zone quick shift, that means we might not have a chance to enter it, but let's see what they want to do. So I'd say on M15, we can get a short-term buy, just coming back up into these moving averages you see right there. If we can get to the gray zone, that will just be a bonus. Gray zone on top there where we have TP2. that will just be a bonus. But if you can get to the 0.00 or TP1 areas, that will still be perfect because I feel like it will be a lot of pips as well. It will actually be from there to there, it will be 60, then to TP1, that'll be 98, almost 100. We only need 50 pips out of this setup if it plays out. So buy limit it's 16.245. I've got a buy limit there. M30, I might consider. Let's see if the buy limit is not on the 13 EMA. Okay, so from M30, I might consider a buy. Okay, 245 is right here. On M30, I might consider a buy right on the 38.2. Right on the 38.2, I might consider a buy. I think, bro, you remember that other time when we were talking about okay, let's not go into the strategy, but if I think you understand, if we look into H1 here, you see how prices moved, then we jump to M15, we run our fib. 38.2 has to be the best point of interest because sometimes price won't get into the 50 level. So I would say let's rather have a buy around 16, let's just say 16,260. 16,260. So price is currently about 9 pips away from that buy limit. So we've got 16,260 and we've got 16,245 is buy limits. So basically this is the setup. Once you run your fib, that's the setup. From 38.2 all the way to 70.5. This is an area where price can get into before we buy. So we can get anything like this. We come up, maybe retrace a bit, then push up either to TP1 or to TP2. For now, I would say if price plays out this way, then that's perfect to catch the trade. But where is the stop loss though? The stop loss might be a little big based on the range here and where we're entering. But I'll say my stop loss is right below this point, right below the 70.5 area. So stop loss will most likely be 35 pips for the second buy limit. And for the first buy limit, that will be about almost 40 pips, I think 40, 45 pips on the stop loss. But again, if price gets deeper, it only means we're going to get more reward. So the risk to reward on this one will most likely be about 1:2. So whatever we are risking, if we can make double, then that will be perfect. So that's my view on B 1000 there. So I'm going to leave it on M15 or rather M30. Let me leave it on M30 because I want to see how they act with the M30 moving average there. Okay, right there. So yeah, let's see how they play out. Then step index, the sell had also a nice, huge sell right from the beginning of the week. We simply had a consolidation, a little manipulation to the top side and a distribution. And right now, price is just retracing. If this was the M15 chart, this is what we would call an intraday reversal. But since this is on the 4-hour, this is a weekly chart, so it shows you the week's view. So now this is a midweek reversal, even though this is not the middle of the week, but we call it the midweek reversal. So price just retraces back into the range. So if you're on step, I'll just advise maybe look for short-term sales coming back into the 200 EMA. Potentially, let's remove this. Yeah, potentially coming back to the 200 EMA. As long as we can stay above, if we can stay above this order block here, I feel like that's a point of interest. If you're trading step, that should be a point of interest for a buy. If price respects that area, you can take your buy. If they come lower into this order block as well, you can see this loan order block, we might just get a sniper entry for a buy right in there. That's also possible. But for now, I'll say those are my 2 points of interest for buys. And the buy is just going to be short term for now. So that's my view on step. Then J10 came outside the range. I'm sure we spoke about this setup. Like we're anticipating price to either come above, continue up, or hits come below or come slightly above, come below. So for this particular price action, price coming to this level, probability is actually high since it's a range fake out at the top. Price coming out to the bottom is actually very high and very possible. So from the 4 hour, you can see the range. You can even adjust these highs maybe to the top there if you want. But I would say if I'm to sell this, we've got a late sell right in the middle of this range coming back down. H1, if I can get a pattern here, I don't mind selling. Because you can see price has been respecting order blocks right from this top here. We've got like a sell motion, like lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. But what we want is a pattern within this area here. So M15, do we have something? Oh, excuse me, M15, we've got shark fin hold the mail. You can actually consider a sell here. If you're trading jump 10, we just need a close below the order block. If you want to wait a bit, you can wait for the impulsive move, then maybe use, let's say this candle closes below there. This is going to be a fair value gap. So we're going to look for a slight retracement, maybe on the 5 minute time frame. Price retraces back into that gray area there before we look for sells. So again, we can also run a fib from wherever price decides to retrace. You can run it from here to here if you're using M5 to wherever they start retracing from. Then if the points of interest line up with something, you can sell. Or you can run it from here to wherever price starts to retrace from if you're on the M15, and it's the same thing. Whatever lines up with the points of interest or with the retracement levels, we can also sell from there. So maybe leave this here on M5 just to stoke it and see if we can take a trade. Step waiting for those 2 points of interest. B1 coming into the buy limits. B5, we're waiting for a break of this zone for us to buy. C5, you can see we're still above the 13 EMA. We can still be bullish on this, so be very careful. But again, on the left, I want you to mark this order block here on the H1 time frame. Just mark that order block. Price can still come right in there before they still create a sell pattern, meaning they can just extend today's high, then still form a pattern and still sell. That's also a possibility. Then C1, we're keeping an eye on how 4 hour is going to close. It's about to close in 4 minutes. They can still continue pushing up, but we are still open to seeing a sell. Then C3, we'll wait for it at the top there in those points of interest. It doesn't look like they will come down since they dropped big time yesterday. So that's it from me today. If I do execute on some trades besides B1000 or besides what we spoke about here, I'll still let you guys know. Remember, after every hour or every few hours, we just want to check what price will be doing. Then we trade accordingly. So our buy limit on B1000 is about to activate. That will be the only setup which will currently be stalking, and it will be the only setup which will most likely be active if it taps us into the trade. So apart from that, thank you so much for joining, bro. Those who are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, comment, and also subscribe. If the content is helpful to you, please do subscribe. This month we'll try to also do currencies mostly because we mainly do synthetics. So thank you so much for joining. Enjoy your weekends. Stay safe. Good trading.